Let's take a closer look now at the casualties of the new Saudi Anti-Corruption Committee. It was created to deal with the abuse of power, including the theft of public funds. 11 princes and dozens of former ministers are among those reportedly detained. And then there are those who've been dismissed. First to be removed on King Salman's royal orders was the Minister of the National Guard, Prince Meteb bin Abdullah. He's the son of the late King Abdullah, making him one of the most prominent princes on the list. He was the last senior royal in government not closely connected with Salman or his son and heir to the throne, Mohammed bin Salman. Also out is the Minister of Economy and Planning, Adil bin Mohammed Fakih, an engineer and the former mayor of Jeddah. And another to go is Abdullah bin Sultan al-Sultan. He was the commander of the Saudi Navy. But by this royal decree, he's been ordered to retire. Al Jazeera senior political analyst Marwan Bishara says the heir to the throne, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is flexing his political muscle in ways not seen before in recent Saudi history.
It's yet another reshuffle, right, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And at the heart of it is the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who's clearly the man with power in hands, being able to change things around within the kingdom, and not only changing people, but changing policies, changing direction, and taking on these major, mega, hundreds of billions of dollars projects like a new city, like privatizing a bit of Aramco, the main oil company in Saudi Arabia. So all in all, he's taken a very aggressive stance that we haven't seen before in the modern history of Saudi Arabia, where a new king or a new regime comes in, not only changes cabinet, not only changes a bit of the structure so that it is a new era of a new king, but now we have the king and the crown prince really changing decades, centuries-long tradition within the kingdom. So the latest reshuffle today is really a part of a longer change, dramatic change in the kingdom, where the new crown prince, young, inexperienced, certainly in government, and he's been called ambitious as well as reckless by the various outlets in the West that are really close to Saudi Arabia.
Well, you've been talking to, many analysts ever since he was appointed, both in and out of the country. He must be ruffling feathers within the royal family, and with that come dangers as well.
I think he's certainly racking the enemies within the kingdom, and certainly those who've been, centers of power within the kingdom. Look at the last crown prince he got rid of. If you all remember, he was the crown prince or deputy crown prince. Now he's become a crown prince, and got rid of a man who's been heading security in Saudi Arabia, in charge of the campaign against terror, a very close friend of the United States. Look at the new man he just got rid of, Meteb bin Abdullah, who's the head of the National Guard. His father, former King Abdullah, before he became king, he was also head of the National Guard. So since its establishment in 1962, the National Guard has been headed by Abdullah and his son. Now, the new crown prince just put all of that aside and is doing his own new assignment. So he's really changing things around, but not only within the kingdom. So right before he made his major first changes in order to become crown prince, he launched the war in Yemen when he was defense minister. So all in all, while he's making major shifts and dramatic shifts within the kingdom, he's also making them within the region.
And of course that leads us neatly to the next question, which is this attack apparently against Saudi Arabia, missiles being launched from Yemen's territory. This is a wake-up call, is it not, for Riyadh about their whole policy in Yemen, and which way do they go now?
Today we saw this new dramatic change in what I would like to call, or what even they're calling, a new balance of terror between the Saudis and the Houthis, whereby the Houthis are able to shoot ballistic missiles not only that goes 1,000 kilometers towards Mecca, but also more than that, longer than that, towards Riyadh, towards the King Khalid airport around Riyadh. So really, the capacity of the Houthis, a renegade, or if you will, a rebel group in Yemen, able to do that kind of action, to take that kind of step against Saudi Arabia, is a proof that the Saudis, or the Crown Prince in particular, has made a major fumble in his war in Yemen, and that this is a strategic failure for Saudi Arabia in Yemen.
If that's the case, where Saudi Arabia looking for some semblance of peace within that part of the region, it's all thrown into chaos by the Lebanese Prime Minister, who happens to be in Saudi Arabia and offers his resignation outside of his own country, creating the big question marks about stability in Lebanon and who are the really big game players in a country that's been racked historically with civil war and political strife, and who really are those people in charge of a country that is so close to some of the major conflicts at the moment, especially Syria.
In the end of the day, what we have is Saudi Arabia now is trying to act not only in Yemen, not only in Syria, not only defending itself, but also bringing Lebanon into the whole new theater of proxy conflict and war with Iran. I think that's unfortunate. Why? It's because if the region falls into a proxy conflict between Iran and Saudi Arabia, no one is going to win and everyone is going to lose. And I'm not just talking about the Saudis and the Iranians, I'm talking about the Lebanese, the Yemenis, the Iraqis, the Syrians, and so on and so forth. And we've seen the results. Look at Iraq. Hundreds of thousands of casualties. Look at Syria. Hundreds of thousands of casualties. Look at Yemen, tens of thousands of casualties. Lebanon, it had it already, its civil war. Now it might enter to an era of unknown. Why? Because Iran and Saudi Arabia are fighting their proxy wars. While Saudi Arabia is taking the offensive defense, if you will, in Lebanon, Iran is acting in a very cool manner, really expanding its influence on all these regions, and apparently insisting that once Hezbollah finishes its fight in Syria along with Assad and Iran, that it will be taking control within Lebanon. That's not acceptable to the Lebanese represented by Saad al-Hariri and others. And hence Saudi Arabia is taking advantage of that, taking Lebanon into this new theater of proxy conflicts in the region. So all in all, very dangerous for Lebanon, very dangerous for the Eastern Mediterranean, incredibly dangerous for the Arab world. And as we've seen from the shooting of missiles that we've just talked about, it's also dangerous for Saudi Arabia, dangerous for regional security.